Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Brittany Bassan. I'm the Executive Director of ChamberSOUTH, and thank you all so much for joining us today. We're so delighted to have you and to have this amazing presentation by Maria, sponsored by Miami-Dade College. It's my job today to kind of run your program. Unfortunately, our chairman of our board is not available, so I'll be taking over hosting duties today. Thank you to all the ChamberSOUTH board members that are on this call right now. I appreciate your support, and I'm going to get right into it. So our presenting sponsor today is Miami-Dade College Kendall campus, and we have Dr. Pascal Charlot, who's going to be doing a few remarks. So Dr. Charlot, take it away.
Thank you, and good morning. On behalf of Miami-Dade College, I wish to thank ChamberSOUTH for the opportunity to sponsor today's town hall conversation with Maria Alonso of United Way. ChamberSOUTH, United Way, and Miami-Dade College have a shared commitment to making a meaningful difference in the lives of the community, and I'd like to talk briefly about what we've been up to in light of this pandemic. As everyone knows, Miami-Dade College's focus is to make this difference through education. And we're committed to making a quality education accessible and affordable to all. With over 2 million alumni, we remain invested in fulfilling this mission for this particular community. Next slide. Given the times that we're dealing with, Miami-Dade College's sense of purpose is heightened because so many of our students are likely to be negatively impacted. Approximately 57% of Miami-Dade College students are low income, 43% live below the poverty level, 78% work while attending college, while 51% are first-generation college students. Therefore, to mitigate any impact for this moment, Miami-Dade College recently launched MDC Cares, and I want to share with you briefly what that has meant to our community. Next slide. Over $5.9 million have been awarded to students in emergency financial aid grants. This would allow them to continue in over 300 programs of study that include associate degrees, baccalaureate degrees, as well as college credit certificates. In addition, we launched 13 accelerated programs in order to allow people who were not necessarily enrolled before to enter programs and earn credentials rather quickly. And for anyone not seeking a program, but just in need of a course or a refresher, we created upskill professional development opportunities as well. In addition, we increase student support, whether it's through remote tutoring, mental health services, or single-stop referrals to government benefits to ensure our students were able to connect with needed resources. This also meant we distributed 700 plus laptops at no cost to students to ensure they could now take the 4,200 courses that had been transitioned to remote learning. 578 represents the number of families served when we hosted Farm Share at the Kendall campus. Food insecurity is a pervasive problem, and our food pantry typically sees about 1,000 students annually. So we knew this is an endeavor that we needed to be a part of, and we will continue whenever those opportunities present itself. In addition, we also know people need sanity breaks, and so we partnered with the Miami Film Festival to offer a pop-in drive-in theater where over 160 cars were presented and had a delightful time. The pictures are adorable. It almost reminds you of Happy Days to see people going to drive-in movie theaters again. And finally, our summer camps have been steadfast in this community in a way for all parents to stay sane as their children stay involved in ways that allow them to grow and to stay connected. And finally, the reason why we're here today is the #1 partnership Miami-Dade College has had with the United Way for more than 50 years. Because the population that I described needs more than one partner in order to be successful and improve the quality of life. And United Way has been steadfast in their commitment and ability to do so meaningfully. And so with that, on behalf of the college, I also want to thank United Way for the good work that they do and look forward to working with ChamberSOUTH and United Way in order to get our community to the other side of this situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charlot. And like you said, partnerships are so incredibly important. As we weather these challenging times, we have to come together, we have to support one another. And so ChamberSOUTH is extremely appreciative for Miami-Dade College Kendall campus supporting this event and being the presenting sponsor of this event. Because again, we could not continue to do what we do if it weren't for the strong partnerships that we have in the community. Thank you. Okay, so now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our speaker today, Maria Alonso. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. There's no introduction necessary. We all know who Maria is, but I'm going to go through just a couple of highlights. So Maria Alonso assumed the role of president and CEO with United Way of Miami-Dade in August 2017 after a 22-year career with Bank of America. And prior to joining the organization, she was a board member of United Way and led the redesign of the United Way community investment process to a more strategic, collective impact approach focused on education, financial stability, and health. Her rich history of community leadership includes chairing the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce and the New World School of Arts, as well as serving as a co-chair for the One Community, One Goal initiative through the Beacon Council, and she's currently a board member of the Beacon Council. She has also served on the boards of the Miami Foundation, Camilla's House, Miami-Dade College Foundation, and many others. And working alongside a team of nearly 200 professionals, she guides the strategic direction, operations, and finances of the largest funder of health and human services in Miami-Dade County. Ladies and gentlemen, Maria Alonso.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Brittany, and thank you for inviting me to join you and ChamberSOUTH members this morning. As you noted, Miami-Dade College is special to me and in my heart. And Dr. Charlot, thank you. It's great to see you. And it's great to see your leadership of the Kendall campus now. When we met, you were the Dean of the Honors College, and I know you did such a terrific job there. That's why you are where you are. Miami-Dade College, beyond being the creator of opportunity for all in our community, quite frankly, the #1 workforce developer in our community, is a special partner to United Way. Certainly, you heard we've been partners for almost 50 years, and it does speak to the power and the importance of collaboration, not only during these times, but every time. And so thank you for your partnership and your support, and thank you obviously for sponsoring today's chat.
Okay, perfect. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to chat a little bit with Maria. I'm going to ask her a couple of questions about United Way and what the organization is doing. It's just going to be back and forth chat. And then Maria, I know that we have a few slides, so just let me know when you want me to put those up on the screen, and we can go from there. If you want them up now, that's great.
Sure, absolutely. Go for it. That way you don't have to look at my mug all the time.
Okay. So here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, perfect. So I think I went a little too fast, but that's good. So United Way of Miami-Dade has been serving Miami-Dade County for 96 years. So Maria, can you just briefly tell us about United Way's work in our community?
Absolutely, I'm honored to do so. So for 96 years, we've been bringing, the hearts, minds, and financial resources of our community together in order to address our community's needs, and with a mission of helping build community by helping each other out. The why behind, well, actually, let me backtrack. As you said, we work in 3 pillars and 3 areas that have been proven to be instrumental and essential for high quality of life, and that is education, financial stability, and health. So our goal through our investments in these 3 pillars is that everyone in our community, regardless of background, socioeconomic status, race, or zip code, have the same opportunity to thrive and make sure that they can contribute and be a part of our community and reach their full potential. So Alice Families is the why behind everything that we do at United Way. And ALICE is an acronym for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. And these are hardworking families that are living in or one emergency away from financial instability and poverty. Much like the population that Dr. Charlot was describing is the student body at Miami-Dade College. And so these hardworking families earn more than the poverty level, so they don't qualify for public assistance. However, they consistently struggle to cover the basics. And by basics, I mean housing, food, medication, childcare, and healthcare. And so, you know, it's a situation that is not sustainable. So they can't cover the basics, but they can't even save, right? So that means they can't save for their children's education, post-secondary, which is so important, or a certification, and they can't save for a rainy day, and they can't maybe invest in asset building tools such as a home. Next slide. So these Alice families are, you know, you're thinking of, oh, this is just, you know, a small percentage of our population in Miami-Dade County. And as you can see, nothing is farther from the truth. There's over 477,000 households in Miami-Dade County that fit this criteria. And that's 54% of all of our households. As you can see, and when you compare us to the state of Florida, we have 54% of households that are Alice families plus poverty, whereas the state is at, let me see, my eye vision has not gotten better with this pandemic, 46%. So clearly Miami-Dade County leads the state in the number of Alice families that are struggling. 5 out of 10 is an alarming number. And so what COVID has done is exacerbated an already existing problem. We had these families that were already struggling before COVID, and then clearly COVID has just exponentially impacted their financial stability and their ability to survive. And I think we've all seen that, right, in the food distributions and the need for the most basics of basics. And we're on a monthly basis watching whether our governor will, extend evictions so that people have a place to stay, because that would also exacerbate an already existing crisis with affordable housing in Miami-Dade.
Okay, so speaking of the pandemic, how has United Way of Miami-Dade responded to COVID-19?
Yeah, so in various ways, and next slide, if you will, Brittany. You know, we are a partner of Miami-Dade County and the Emergency Operations Center. So we are technically a part of the team, and we have two responsibilities with that role. And that is the recruitment of volunteers and also the fundraising of funds to help on an emergency basis, right? And so although this is not a natural disaster, we know that it is a health and economic disaster. So since mid-March, since the pandemic was first declared by the World Health Organization, we have gone into emergency response and recovery. And the first thing we did was activate of our volunteer portal, which we had launched in January of this year, and it's volunteermiami.org. And this became, or has become, the go-to portal for not just our volunteer activities, but also other nonprofits in the community that are in need of volunteers in order to help with the recovery effort. And so those efforts have been a big range of, a wide range of activities. We have done diaper and formula distributions to low-income families whose toddlers are part of the Early Head Start Child Care Partnership Program. We've been a partner to Miami-Dade County Public Schools in their distribution of food ever since, since schools closed. And that's really important because for so many of our families, for our Alice families, the food that their kids receive in school is their #1 source of food and nutrition. We've also been very active with older adults. As we all know, one of the first things that our mayor did was close out congregate living facilities and congregate meal sites for our older adults, which was very prudent and necessary given the risk to vulnerable populations such as the older adults, but that meant that they too, that is a source, a primary source of food and nutrition for our older adults. So we've been doing that. We've also activated a couple of virtual volunteer opportunities, right? I think we've all had to adapt our business models, and we still need volunteers. And so we've done a letter writing campaign of messages of hope and gratitude for our frontline workers, not only our medical professionals, but also the letter carriers and the grocery store clerks, everybody that has kept our community going despite our shutdown and then our, phase one recovery, et cetera. And also our older adults, because with their congregate sites and centers closed, they relied on those centers for interactions with other older adults. And so they are feeling isolated, and that can lead to depression, which can take an older adult south very quickly. And then for our toddlers, just encouraging that they continue to read and continue to excel in that skill that is so necessary for learning later down their educational career. And so we've had a series of videos where volunteers read with the children so that they can continue to do this while we are telecommuting. So that is one way. Another way is, next slide please, is as a result of a decades-long partnership with the Miami Herald and El Nuevo Herald, we activated Operation Helping Hands. And through that partnership, that's where the Miami Pandemic Response Fund came into play. I have to give a great shout out to the funder collaborative that seeded the fund with $500,000 and joined United Way in doing that. And that was the Health Foundation of South Florida, the Miami Foundation, the Greater Miami Visitors and Conventions Bureau, and the Frederick A. DeLuca Foundation, which joined United Way for the seed funding that has ultimately allowed us to attract another $3.1 million for a total of 3.6. And what that fund has allowed us to do is to provide emergency assistance and relief in the form of rent assistance, assistance with purchasing of food, and mortgage assistance and medication assistance to almost 5,000 individuals in our community. And we continue to process applications, obviously with the goal of deploying every single one of those $3.6 million out back into the community.
That's incredible, Maria. Thank you for that update. So just a couple of things, we're just going to pause really briefly. I just wanted to remind everyone that's currently on the presentation, definitely we're going to have an opportunity for questions at the end of Maria's presentation. So if you just put them in the chat, we'll address all of them at the end. That's the most efficient way. Okay, so Maria, what about some of the businesses in Miami-Dade County who have also been impacted by COVID-19?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that ChamberSOUTH members are the first to know that small businesses are the backbone of our economy in Miami-Dade County. And so, and while there have been, loan programs and assistance programs through the CARES Act, many small businesses in our community and across the nation, quite frankly, were not able to get assistance through those programs, or didn't want to burden their operations with another loan, right? And so recognizing that small businesses are so integral to the economy of Miami-Dade County, as part of that broader Miami Pandemic Response Fund, we created the Small Business Assistance Program. I think we're 2 slides back. I'm sorry, my fault.
Do you want me to go?
Or forward, I'm sorry, forward.
Okay, not a problem. There we go. Perfect.
There we go. And so to date, we've been able to help micro businesses. So these are small businesses with less than 10 employees with less than $1 million in annual revenue that would otherwise not have qualified or received assistance through other means. We've been able to help over 70 small businesses to date, deployed about $185,000 in doing so. You can see the average assistance per business is $2,500, and mainly that's been used for rent assistance. And as you can see in the categories, most of the applicants have been in the professional services category, as well as food and entertainment. And we continue this program, but we think this is absolutely critical, certainly for the economy and the stability of our community in Miami-Dade County.
Absolutely. And what are some of the other ways that United Way of Miami-Dade has been responding to this pandemic?
Yeah, so when the CARES Act was being discussed in Washington, D.C., the nonprofit community and small businesses actually were not a part of the discussion. And so small businesses later became a part of the discussion, and we used our voice to advocate for that, knowing how important that is for our local community and economy. But we also advocated for the inclusion of nonprofits, right, to get some type of relief through the CARES Act. Not unlike small business, the nonprofit sector is a key employer in Miami-Dade County and actually has an economic impact of $23 billion. So it is a sector that is important and that needed assistance. There was actually a survey completed in May by the Metropolitan Center and it was of 374 local nonprofits. And the study showed that 56% had already experienced a decrease in donations. Obviously, all of us have had to adapt in order to provide services through a virtual platform. 67% of those surveyed responded that they were doing that. And in so doing, 54% had increased costs related to technology and other tools that were essential in order to operate in a virtual environment. The study also had a few other facts that I need to share with you, and I want to make sure that I get them correct. The majority expected a 5 to 24% reduction in annual revenues, and 1 in 5 of all of the nonprofits that were surveyed expected up to a 49% decrease in annual revenues. So clearly, nonprofits are together a part of the safety net, right, of serving the most vulnerable in our community in whatever way, whether they're in health and human services, or education, or emergency assistance, or food security, etc. They are part of that safety net. So these numbers really, if it's sustained, can have a devastating impact to our overall community. I would like to also say that, 61% of those that were surveyed were smaller nonprofits, less than 10 employees, just like small businesses, and 31% of those had already had to lay off or furlough employees. And as you can imagine, like in a small business, every single person is essential and vital to the overall impact and service delivery. So that's significant. I also think that it is significant that that number varied by the type of nonprofit. And I think we can all recognize that arts and culture were really, and humanities were the biggest hit, because they've not been able to open their theaters. And so their major source of funding has also gone away. And, we're in a precarious situation. So anyway.
Very much so. And just to put it back to the Small Business Assistance Program, because we have the slide up here on the screen, I see here that a total distributed has been, just under $185,000. Has that fund been depleted? Is there still funds available there for small businesses? And how can small businesses apply for assistance through that?
Yeah, so it was, There are still funds available, but there's a pipeline. We opened the application period up for a 2-week period. We received over 880 applications. And as you can see, we've assisted over 70. There were some that did not qualify because they either had too many employees or the annual revenue was over the cutoff. What we're hoping is that we'll be able to attract more funding, and hence that will allow us to deploy another allocation of funds for small businesses. And if and when that happens, Brittany, I'll be sure to let you know so that you can let our ChamberSOUTH members know.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are the small business champions, so whatever we can do to help our small businesses and give them the resources that are available at this moment is extremely helpful.
It's critical. I mean, also, please do go to our United Way website. We created a series of resource pages for individuals, but also for small businesses, for all types of resources available at local level, or, you know, either through this fund or other funds or Career Source, or, you know, certainly the state bridge program and federal, just as a way to put it all in one place to make it easier as we navigate through this health and economic crisis. Brittany, that reminded me that we're also turning our attention to longer term, right, pandemic relief. And as you know, DC is currently in the process of speaking about another relief package for the U.S. And so we're using our voice, our advocacy, our public policy to lobby our congressional leaders. You may be aware that in one of the provisions of the CARES Act made a tax benefit available to all taxpayers that give a charitable contribution to a qualifying nonprofit, even if you don't itemize. And so that was a $300 above the line benefit to encourage people, individuals, to give, especially at this time. Well, that provision only lasts for 2020. And so we're using our voice to ask that that be extended to 2021, because I think we all know, whether we're in small business, nonprofits, education, whatever our sector is, we know that, and especially as we're seeing now with our numbers rising again, this is going to be a longer term play and a longer term impact for our community to recover, and it will need a lot more stimulus beyond 2020 in order to get us through. So those are some of the things that we're involved in now. And I encourage you to use your voice, right? And reach out to our congressional leaders, certainly to our state leaders, but our congressional leaders, and let them know what the impacts are on your business, on our community, and how they can help.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue into our next question, which is, how can our community help? Like, what is it that we can do to help United Way and to help promote everything that is that you're doing, and to help you continue to provide these resources to the community?
Sure, I think we have a slide for that.
We do. And
there's a variety of things that everybody can do. I mean, first and foremost, please use your voice. Vote, very important, but use your voice with Congress and with our state legislature. Two, you can donate. Quite frankly, we need the help. We are part of that nonprofit ecosystem in Miami-Dade County, and right off the bat, we had at least $1 million to offset, because we had to, like so many, cancel and or postpone events. And that's, a lifeblood. And then think of some of our corporate partners that are in the cruise industry, for instance. You can imagine that they're not able to be active at this point. So everybody is being hit, and we are no exception. So clearly, whether it be $1, $10, $100, whatever you can do, it all helps, and it's a multiplier effect. We have a portfolio of direct services ourselves, but we also support 60 nonprofits in Miami-Dade County that, like, as I said, are that safety net for our community. And you can also volunteer. If following all the CDC guidelines and with the right PPE here, you can certainly be a part of food distributions or of sanitary kit distributions and PPE to the homeless, like we've done and need to continue to do, diapers and formula for low, moderate income families with toddlers. We need help with all of that. You can be a part of the Miami-Dade County Public Schools food distribution, or even MDC Cares maybe, and their food distributions, but we need volunteers. And if you can't do it physically because of you don't feel comfortable, or you have a pre-existing condition, clearly that's our top of mind. You can do it from your home. I described 2 of the virtual opportunities we have, and I think that if this gets extended and as we continue to navigate this pandemic, more opportunities will come online virtually as well. So there's just a series of ways in which to participate. I wake up every morning to Squawk Box and CNBC, and this morning they were talking about the benefits of volunteering. And it's the psychological benefits that many people, by focusing on others and giving and helping others, it lessens the stress of the uncertainty related to the pandemic, certainly. And then also the financial, and they did talk about the CARES Act extension of the $300 above the line charitable deduction for giving. So there's a whole series of benefits to just being a part of solutions in our community.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maria. And very similar to you, I come from a not-for-profit background, so we're big believers in philanthropy and giving back to the community and volunteering and supporting our local nonprofits. They are integral to our community, so that's extremely important. So we do have a few questions, but again, just a reminder to everyone, if there's something that you want to ask either Maria or Dr. Charlot, please take that opportunity now to put those questions in the chat, and we will address them. So the first one that we have here, Maria, is someone said that they work with the Miami Diaper Bank, and they were wondering if United Way of Miami-Dade was managing the application for FEMA EFSP funds, and if so, how can they apply?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Brittany.
I'll get a little bit closer. Hang on. Okay.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So the question was, someone works with the Miami Diaper Bank, and they were wondering if the United Way of Miami-Dade were managing the application for FEMA EFSP funds, and if so, how can they apply? If there's any information that you can give, any insight into that, that would be appreciated.
I'd have to get back to you, Brittany. I know that we are a part of the emergency, the ESFP, but I don't know if the Miami Diaper Bank specifically is part of that. I know that the Children's Trust, as a for instance, did a diaper drive to help the diaper bank, but I will get back to you. I'll take that as an action item, and I'll send it to you for you to please send on to the ChamberSOUTH members.
Absolutely. Okay. And then someone said, how can we get involved with these remote acts of caring, the online storytelling videos and the food and care packages? It's a great, we were talking about, getting involved in philanthropy and giving back to the community, but how can someone today take action to do that?
Please visit, thank you for that reminder. Please visit volunteermiami.org. All of the opportunities are there, whether they be virtual or live, and they will be tagged accordingly. And you will see that there's a lot of opportunities that are from, let me think of some that are active right now. Branches is active right now. Food in the Hood is active right now. United Way certainly has a few opportunities that are active. So there's plenty of needs, and they'll be there. Volunteermiami.org.
That's great, and I love that there's a combination of both virtual and in-person opportunities, so that gives a wide range And I'm sure we can find something that fits for our members and for our participants.
And different geographies as well, and different types of activities. So, you know, I think there should be something for everybody. Right. It's very intuitive, and I think it's easy to navigate. I hope you'll find that to be so.
I'm going to take a look at it today. Actually, that's really exciting, just to get out and feel like you're helping and making a difference. So this is an interesting question. Does United Way have any resources available for mental health? So a lot of people are. I mean, we talk about it as being you're worried about your physical health, but mental health, especially with all of these changes, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, especially for small business owners. The uncertainty of everything really can weigh heavily. So do you have any resources available for that, or can you point us in that direction?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a series of resources. We work with NAMI, which is the National Association of Mental Health Institute, and they do have a wide range of programming available in this area. I also want to put a plug in for 211, which is our community go-to, right, assistance. It's run by one of our nonprofit partners, JCS of South Florida, Jewish Community Services. They can be a resource for all of these types of questions, right, and can lead you based on your needs to a nonprofit partner that is focused on specific areas of need. But mental health is one that we've been talking about internally. I think we always have, but we realize that this pandemic is putting a lot of stressors on individuals and families, and certainly the uncertainty that surrounds it. And so mental health is really important right now and very topical.
Absolutely. So a question just came through, and I know that you kind of addressed this, but we can maybe delve into a little bit more detail. But is United Way involved in any legislation or lobbying in any way when it comes to the main focuses of education, financial stability, and health? And I know you are. Maybe talk about some of those specifics on what you do.
Sure, absolutely. So like I said, right now we're really focused on long-term CARES Act and the next relief package because it's relevant and topical and time sensitive right now. But on our regular legislative agenda, we actually have a public policy committee where other nonprofits and other partners like Miami-Dade County Public Schools is a part. And we create a legislative agenda. We have one at the local level, but then with other United Ways across the state of Florida, we create a consensus agenda for the state. And we work together to have one voice, right? So that we're not all, talking about different things, because let's face it, the needs are varied. And on a typical year for that legislative agenda, we'll always be advocating for early education because we know that quality early education is instrumental for the future academic success and life success overall. So that we're also always advocating for VITA. And VITA is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program that's available through United Way and over 20 partners, such as branches and others. It's an IRS-led initiative that provides free tax assistance to our community. And obviously that's critical, and you may have heard of the Earned Income Tax Credit. That is the #1 anti-poverty tool for working families. And so many people qualify, but they don't know that they qualify. And that's something that Miami-Dade College, through their single stop, also does, right? They try to look and take a holistic view of the student in their case, of the individual or family in our case, to see what they qualify for, what benefits, and then seek that. And the Earned Income Tax Credit is a one-time, can be up to $5,000, which for a working family, I know it sounds like it's not a lot, it can mean the world of difference based on the fact that they're struggling daily just to make their day-to-day work. So those are some of the issues that we advocate for every year. Oh, and affordable housing, clearly, because that's so important in our community. So we've long been advocating for the Sadowski Fund in Florida not to be swept. I think you know that almost every year it gets swept, partly or in totality, for other areas where we're short of revenue. And the reality is that that is a primary need. That is the #1 cost for all households in Miami-Dade County. And when you consider that our average salaries and household income can't keep up with the rising cost of living, of which housing is the #1 burden, that is really important as we think about ALICE families and their needs. And that is something that we've long been advocating for and will continue.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maria. I think we don't, if there's no more questions, and we're kind of at 11:45, we like to keep these chats under an hour. I know that there was a lot of information that was presented today. Maria gave great resources. We're going to compile all of that information as well as a recording of today's presentation. We're going to email that out to all of our members. So don't worry too much about taking down all of that stuff or remembering everything, because that information will be provided to you no later than tomorrow. With the full recording of this entire presentation. So if there are no additional questions for either Maria or Dr. Charlo, I think we are at an end to our presentation today. Once again, Maria, thank you so much. United Way is such a strong pillar in our community. You do so much for our community here in Miami-Dade, and we are so incredibly grateful. Dr. Charlo, thank you again for your sponsorship of today's program, Miami-Dade College Kendall Campus. And again, if there's no additional comments, no additional questions, thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Dr. Charlo.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Well. Bye-bye.
Be well.
Bye-bye.